Hey, it's Dave. Welcome back to my channel. I was trying to think of what to play today, and I'm like, hey, I'm wearing a Flash Gordon t-shirt. I may as well try to play the Execution song from Flash. So that's what that was. It's called The Execution of Flash. Once again, I am playing my Deluxe Strat. It's an American Deluxe V. It has 6,000 stainless steel jumbo frets. I put an extra string tree here, and the pickguard I changed because it comes with like this gold plastic. It's like copper looking or bronze looking. It's just terrible. So I got rid of that and made it kind of looks like a Gilmore, except it has like a deluxe bridge and the 22 frets. But I like the way it plays better. 9.5 radius. And it's a nice sounding guitar. The sound I'm using is just a Fender Mustang. I believe I'm using the a twin reverb setting with a reverb pedal instead of using the... It's just the way it comes up. It's like a simulated reverb pedal instead of the built-in amp reverb, spring reverb. So it's like a pedal reverb. And I'm using, goes into chorus and then into a delay. The chorus and delay is on the back side of the amp, and the reverb is in the front. But yeah. Anyways, hope everyone's doing well. Let's see what's going on. You know, it's funny, a lot of people, when I talked a little bit about the Silver Sky, kind of got off base about thinking I was insulting John Mayer, which of course I said, don't be like, and of course they came up, you know, everyone was like all butthurt because I said he was on the decline. But you can take my word for it. You can go look up the RIAA record reviews and whatnot and what he does for concerts. It's all there. So that was just my point. Like, there's a lot of people on the decline that will jump ship because what ends up happening is manufacturers don't so much care. If somebody's not doing that well, they want you to be low maintenance for them. They'll keep you on, but they don't want to deal with someone calling them all the time or having to deal with it and making it a pain in their neck. You know, like someone like David Gilmour, they got the guitar right, and he walks away, and they keep making it, and they send him money. And, you know, with Clapton, they did the same thing, although Clapton, like, will always sell Strats, because that's who he was with all the time. But, you know, like, you got guys like Dave Mustaine. Well, Dave Mustaine in the 90s was selling a lot of records. They had some awesome years with Megadeth. Cryptic Writings is fantastic. Probably, I think that's the last good one. That was produced by Dan Huff. But, you know, Euthanasia and, of course, Rust in Peace and Countdown to Extinction. Awesome albums. So with that, he was with Jackson, and Jackson would do anything to keep them on. So they had, you know, Marty Friedman played a Jackson, Dave played a Jackson. Well, as the years go on and the albums become less and less selling, Jackson don't want to hear it. They're not going to be as accommodating because they're just not getting any reward from it. I mean, it's just the sad part of business. And, you know, if you're a Dave Mustaine lover and you're like, yeah, crazy, if the stuff he does now is better, it might be. I'm not even saying it is or it isn't. I don't care. I'm just explaining to you why the comments that I was making about the Silver Sky, you know, why those make sense and why what I was saying should not be insulting to you, because it has nothing to do with their music. It has to do with their success and how, the audience they're reaching. So, of course, Dave Mustaine's going to leave and they go to Dean. Now, Dean would love to have a mega star like Dave Mustaine. They're a smaller company than Jackson. You know, it's not the company of Dean Zielinski anymore. It's the company of, I'll think of his name. Used to be Thoroughbred Music down in Florida. Elliot. God, I can't think of his last name. But Elliot, who owns Dean, you know, he's going to be aggressive to go get the artists that maybe are falling off by the wayside so he can try to turn people on and maybe pick up the people that, you know, are the diehard fans can now buy a Dean, and they'll buy a Dean signature model. But that's all I'm saying. It's like when you see a company like PRS that comes out and is supposed to be a cutting-edge, leading, top brand, I see the move is weak. And that was my point. Like I'm saying, unless like he's coming out with some album and he's got so many millions behind it and Clive Davis or so-and-so is going to push it and make it like, you know, the album of his career. Because, I mean, at its peak, he sold 2 million copies of, like, one of his albums, and one of his live albums sold 2 million copies. And, you know, just to put that in perspective, that's the best-selling one of his albums ever did. Alanis Morissette's second album sold 2 million copies, and the record label deemed it a complete failure. So I just want you to put that into perspective of what they're dealing with as a label and what they see it as. And so just because you think he's a celebrity and a major star, you know, you should see it from another person's eyes who's putting, you know, 10 million behind it and getting 12 million back. It's kind of like, well, that's a terrible investment. You know, and today what happens is with the music business is you're not really making a lot of money making albums. You don't even put that many albums out anymore. I mean, back in the day, like bands like Queen, Foreigner, Led Zeppelin, they're putting out one album, sometimes 2 albums a year. Elton John. If you look at Elton John's albums from like 1970, he put out the Elton John album in 71, Tumbleweed Connection and Madman Across the Water. And in 72, Honky Chateau and Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. In 73, puts out a double album, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I mean, people were prolific back then, putting out a record every year. Well, now that's changed. I would say in the 90s, it kind of extended out to like 2 years. And now you're looking at 3 and 4 years between albums. Because the albums just become now ways to get people to go to the concerts. And then they're trying to make money on the shows. You know, that's why you have artists that are charging between, you know, $100 to $500 to go see them live. When I was young, we could go see a concert for $20, $30. If you spend $20 in 1986 to go see a concert, that would be like spending $45 today. I mean, are the tickets $45 for your average show? No. Let's say it's $40, so you're looking at $80 a ticket. Well, you're paying a lot more than that. And the reason is because back in the day, they used to make a lot of money selling records. And when you're selling a lot of records, the concert was there to promote the record sales. So you wouldn't make so much on the concert, you know. In some cases, some people were even losing money on concerts because they were trying to promote the album. And they would sell albums and sell T-shirts and all that stuff. Today, the album's not paying them anything, and they're going on tour. I mean, like, if you look at John Mayer, and he's selling 40,000 records in Canada, and he's not breaking 500,000 in the States, It's not even going gold, and he hasn't gone gold since 2009. Then you have to think like, all right, so he's not making any money selling records. He has to be making it on the tour. And so that's why you're going to go pay. And obviously, he wasn't just making it on his tour. He went on with the tour with the Dead. He needs to make money. That's what you do. You work as much as you can. So, like guys like Tom Petty. Tom Petty, before he passed, he was on the road for years. He would go on the road every year. And his albums weren't selling shit. I have buddies that really like a lot of his 80s and early 90s albums, but for me, it kind of ended with Long After Dark. To me, that was like, and I was kind of like, that was when I was like a super fan, and then after that, he was okay. But he's not really selling records. He hasn't sold records. When the last DJ came out, everyone made a big deal about it. Didn't sell anything, but he went out and toured and made money, and that's where you're making the money. So what I'm talking about is when these guitar companies, if you see like Slash, and Slash left Gibson. Slash didn't even play a Gibson on the first album. He was playing the knockoff one that some guy makes. I forget his name, but he makes knockoff Gibsons, and they probably built better than Gibsons. So, but it's some private builder. But anyways, he signed a deal with Gibson. He plays a Les Paul. Everyone looks at it. You look at him on stage, oh, that's a tobacco burst Les Paul. So everyone wants to play a Les Paul. That's what you associate him with. Well, let's say tomorrow he starts another band. And that band, he wants to play a PRS, and they make him a single-cut version PRS. Will it sell, and will it affect what people associate Slash with? Personally, I don't think so. It's very, very rare that somebody has longevity over different brands and different stuff, things in their life. Van Halen being the one I can only think of who went through like 4 different guitars, and each one of those guitars was somewhat successful because he's King Edward. He's the king. Whether you like him or you don't, he's fantastic. He had something. He changed the generation. He was the Jimi Hendrix. The 10 years later, he was that next generation's Jimi Hendrix. And somebody made a comment about me because I liked Robin Trower, and they thought like, oh, Robin Trower can't kiss Hendrix's ass. You missed the whole point of what I'm saying, because I am a Hendrix fan, but it's about the songs. It's not about your fantasy of playing and jerking off to his poster. I just don't care about that stuff. At the end of the day, if you don't have a song, you don't have shit. There's so many guys that can shred and play like the stuff that Yngwie did and all these guys. To me, they don't have a song, and that's why you don't hear of them, because they just don't get it. They're not musical. They're just playing. They're just ripping up and down, and there's nothing really much to that. There's nothing musical about it. There's nothing anybody wants to hear. When you do see somebody that can really do it and rip and play musically, then that's something special, and usually it's in a song. If you look around, Eric Johnson is a fantastic player. Everybody would cut off, their foot to play like him. But I can name Cliffs of Dover, and there's a couple of other songs that I liked, but I never really went out to buy or play it again on that album. But, he doesn't have songs. And, Satriani had hit some lightning in a bottle when he did Summer Song and on that album, and but he hasn't done anything since then that's worth anything, and that's why you don't really hear from him. You hear from him in the guitar little world, but in the world of music, if you listen to the radio, he's not going to be on there. And not to say that radio is the end all be all, but there's something about songs. It's like for instance, if you look at Bad Company, great rock and roll band, one of my favorites. You listen to the first album, every song's great. It's great. They came out of the gate having to write stuff, and they wrote great songs. The next album, not so much. They were in a rush to write it. There's about 3 or 4 good songs on there. The rest, I could, whatever. Again, and then every album after that, it was the same thing. There's like 3 or 4 great songs until they get to like Something happened weird with Desolation Angels, because that first side of Desolation Angels, every song is great. If that side 2 was as good as side 1, to me that album would be the best album. But because it's not, and the side 2 isn't that good. Oh, Atlanta's okay, but it's not as strong. And then the album after that, there's like 2 good songs, Painted Face and Electric Land. But it's all about songs. If you don't have a song, you're done, you know. And it's like when I would produce in LA, and I would get a lot of singers coming up to me and talking to me about, could I sit and play with them, and can I do this gig with them? And I'd say, well, let me hear your stuff. And they'd be like, oh, you know, and at first they'd kind of be like, not really insulted, but you can tell they're like, oh, you want to hear me sing? No, I don't. I want to hear your songs. I could care less. You know, Tom Waits, who's going to listen to Tom Waits if some Tom Waits says, hey, listen to me sings, and he's like, oh, my friends are married, they're Tom and Dick and Harry. You're going to be like, well, whatever. But the guy has fantastic songs. And so therefore it's like, I'd love to go play with him. Are you kidding me? Hang Down Your Head. That whole record of Rain Dogs, or even like Blue Valentines. If you're not a Tom Waits fan, I recommend going out and get Blue Valentines. But, you know, like, it doesn't matter. Can you sing? Who cares? I mean, you may not like the person's voice or whatnot, but the song's a killer. I mean, you know, when you can get a little bit, you know, you don't have to be the greatest singer. I mean, look at like Valerie Carter. She passed away last year. Fantastic voice. I mean, she was writing great songs. And, you know, you had guys like the guy who wrote Valerie that Steve Winwood did. That was about her. Jackson Browne wrote That Girl Could Sing. And that was about Valerie Carter. You know, supposedly a phenomenal voice. Well, why wasn't she big? And then Ricky Lee Jones, who, you know, some people say they don't care for her voice. To me, that first album, fantastic. Every song is great. Chucky's in Love's fantastic. The drumming of Steve Gadd on there. Buzz Featon on guitar. That record's fantastic. I highly recommend that album too. But it's all about songs. So, like, you know, if you're all butthurt because I sit and talk about a Robin Trower album versus a Jimi Hendrix song, I hate those Hendrix songs. I just find them boring. I think Purple Haze is like the most rock and roll cop-out of a song. I don't care for it. But that doesn't mean I don't think like Bold as Love is gorgeous, or Castles Made of Sand is beautiful. One Rainy Wish is fantastic. Those are gorgeous songs. Who Knows off of Band of Gypsies. Them Changes. Fantastic. So many good songs, but so many terrible songs. And the ones that I have to hear on the radio that get beaten down into me are the terrible ones. And another band that's just like that is The Who. The Who has so many great songs. The radio is apparently unaware of them. Well, I guess it also depends on what city you live in, because I want to say Boston radio is better than Los Angeles radio. Los Angeles radio, I think they play 3 songs by The Who. Behind Blue Eyes, which I can't stand anymore because of that. Won't Get Fooled Again, and Bubba O'Reilly, those 3 songs. You know, but Going Mobile on that album's fantastic. Bargain is great. You know, Slip Kid, great song. The Seeker, great song. Everything on Who Are You, I'm in. Everything on Quadrophenia, I'm in. But the radio plays the same garbage over and over again, and it beats you down. And as far as when it comes to Hendrix, I'm beaten down. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to hear Purple Haze. I don't want to hear Foxy Lady. I don't want to hear Stone Free. I don't want to hear Crosstown Traffic. I definitely don't want to hear Red House ever again. There's so many songs by him that I just can't stand. When Cries Mary's still okay. I can deal with it. But, you know, there's a lot of bands where you get beaten down like that. Like the radio is just, and they forget, you know, with my band, we go out and we play songs, and people will be like, what the hell song is that? I remember that. And, you know, we tell them, it's like, why isn't that on the radio anymore? Go ask your radio. They just, every year they add, you know, a couple of new songs, and they cut out, like, the good songs by people, and they play, you know, they forget some of the hits that were, like, maybe the second hit off an album or a third. It's always about the one hit. Like, you don't hear much Sammy Hagar. And I always thought Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy was a great song. Um, Speaking of that, my brother called me recently. We were talking about that and the Tubes' Talk to You Later, which is very similar. That whole, you know, one is, and the other one is, but yeah, there was another one too. What's the other? There's a bunch of Sammy Hagar songs. I'll Fall in Love Again. It's great. How come you don't hear any of those? A Three Lockbox. Remember the Heroes with Mike Reno from Loverboy. You never hear those on the radio anymore. Now when you hear Sammy, they always just play the Van Halen stuff. And I'm not saying the Van Halen stuff isn't great, but Black and Blue. You never hear Black and Blue on the radio anymore. You never hear Finish What You Started. You know, it's like you hear the same, you know, whatever. It's like, and just to back further up my point, another band that doesn't have songs is Chickenfoot, which is why you don't hear any of their songs. Shit, I remember I went to go see, it was either Rush doing the Moving Pictures tour or Judas Priest doing British Steel. I can't remember which one it was that I went to the Universal, well, it was Gibson Amphitheater. And afterwards, they're walking around and they were like, do you want to come see Chickenfoot for $20? They were selling, the stadium was going around offering Chickenfoot tickets for $20. And people were just like, yeah, no. The guy's like, oh, that's almost for free. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't take the tickets if you paid me the $20. But, you know, whatever. I'm in a rare rant today, folks, so bear with me. But, I love all that atmospheric stuff. And funny because when I listen to the Queen version, there's like a droning keyboard, which I don't have here. So I just went to some website and it was like, I typed in atmospheric keyboard in A and it popped up some meditation thing. So that's what's playing in the background. I just had it in the background while I was playing it. Anyways, I don't really have much to say. I had nothing to do tonight. It is St. Patrick's Day. I had no gig because a couple of places had offered us to play, and they were like, you need to learn like 20 Irish songs. And I was like, let's see. Acoustically, we do about 130, 140 songs. In an FM station, the electric band, we do about 80 songs. Yeah, I'm going to pass and take the night off. I'm not learning 20 Irish songs for one gig. My brain would explode.
0.0.
Anyway. Next week, or the week after. Well, let's see. What happened recently? Recently, I recently acquired a JCM 900 4502, which is a dual high gain 6550 tube 50-watt combo, which I think will be cool. I'll take out to a couple of gigs and see if I like it. Otherwise, I'll just turn around and resell it. I'm not sure yet. If I like it, I'm going to re-Tolex it. And I'm thinking of re-Tolexing it in bright yellow to match my other guitar. And then I have another guitar that's going to be coming. I got my neck from Warmouth. I took it to the woman to laser cut the logo, and then I'm going to have it put together. And hopefully I'll have it maybe by next week. And that's like my shredder guitar that I'm going to, it looks like I should be playing in like a metal band with that one. And when I say metal, I mean like my, the metal stuff that I listen to, which is by today's standard probably just considered hard rock, Although the other day, I'll tell you, I was listening to an Anthrax album, For All Kings. I think it's a great album. Breathing Lightning is a great song. Because I've been back in the gym, so I'm back into listening to heavy stuff to get myself pumped. And also I listened to All Hope Is Gone, the Slipknot album. And that's one of the easiest records to work out to. It just gets you pumped. It's great. Yeah, other than that, I got nothing. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Very good.
How's that for a topper?
You're right on target.
Right on the money. Everything you said.
You hit the nail right on the head with your comments, what you're saying today.
You're 150% correct.